Hello and good afternoon. Welcome to today's lesson. I apologize. I am 4 minutes late. Sorry about that. Slight technical issue. But never mind. I'm on. Things are connected, so we can begin. I hope everyone is doing well today. The day is not a particularly nice day today, is it? It's well, it looks like it's going to rain, doesn't it? So it doesn't look like the best of days. Let me know in the comments section how you would describe today, the weather today. I'm just going to share the lesson online and we can begin. I would describe today as it is overcast. So if it's overcast, it means that it looks like it might rain. There are a lot of clouds. It's a cloudy day. So if it's a cloudy day, then we can say that it's overcast. Okay. Sandra says, hi, Richard. Hi, Sandra. Welcome to today's lesson. Orena says, hi, Richard. And Alejandra also says, hi, good afternoon. Good afternoon to you guys. I'm not wearing my hat today. I'm brave. I feel a bit brave. I did try and cut my hair. It's not very good, but I think it's long enough now that I don't have to wear a hat. Leondina says, hi, today is windy. Yes, it is windy. It definitely is. It's a little bit windy today. Evelina says, good afternoon. Today are the sun. Today, I think today is sunny. That's what you want to say. Today is sunny. Evelina, I'm glad to hear that where you are, it is sunny. Where I am, it is definitely not sunny. It's quite it's quite cloudy. Victor says, hello, Victor. Good afternoon. Okay. So in today's lesson, we are looking at Shakespeare phrases that you can use. Now, Shakespeare, I imagine most of you might know who he was, but for those of you who might not know who he was, Shakespeare was a very famous writer. He was, now, he's known for being English, but I hear that a lot of people in Italy think that Shakespeare might have been Italian because so many of his plays were based in Italy, and he had such good knowledge of Italian life at the time. I think realistically he was English, but I think he probably spent a lot of time in Italy. The famous play Romeo and Juliet, based in Verona. So I would assume he spent some time in Verona. I think Romeo and Juliet, though, it originally was written by an Italian writer, a very similar story, and Shakespeare used the story to help him write Romeo and Juliet. So he was a famous writer. Now, when I think of it in terms of period of history in England, and he was around during what we would call the Tudor period. So this is to do with Elizabeth I, Queen Elizabeth I. So it's going back quite quite some time. Okay, but Shakespeare, he lived between mid 1500s to the early 1600s. He actually died in something like 1616, I think. Stefano says, good afternoon, dear teacher. Thank you, Stefano. So today we are going to look at phrases that Shakespeare invented that we can use in everyday conversation. And I have chosen some Shakespeare phrases that you can use. Now, I know we have different levels here. We have elementary all the way to upper intermediate, but there will be something for everyone, and it will help you with your language and vocabulary side of things. Okay, so let's begin. I'm going to start off with I'm not going to look at words, necessarily words Shakespeare invented, because he did invent a lot of words, but I am going to look at phrases. And the first phrase I'm going to introduce to you guys, and you can use this, it doesn't matter, even if you are an elementary student, you can definitely use this phrase. Now, where I am, it has definitely started to rain. So the first Shakespeare phrase is break the ice. You might have heard this. Some of you might know it, some of you might not. But break the ice. First of all, break. The ice, well, that is hard water. But what do we mean? Break the ice is when you effectively you introduce yourself, or you start a conversation. Now, this is an important one. Welcome to the lesson today as well, Oksana. Thank you and good afternoon. So, when do we use the term break the ice? Well, this is when you meet people for the first time and you need to say hello. You want to say hello. You want to introduce yourself. Maybe you want to say, hello, I'm Alejandra. I'm from Colombia. Nice to meet you. Maybe you want to say, hello, I'm Stefano. I'm from Italy. Good afternoon. Where are you from? This is the action which we would use the phrase break the ice. And sometimes breaking the ice can be difficult. So you can break the ice. You can break the ice when you start a conversation with a new student, work colleague as well, someone with whom you work, or a stranger. To break the ice when you start a conversation with a new student, work colleague, or stranger. Now, I'll go on to the stranger part. Alejandra says, in Spanish, the meaning is the same. The meaning is the same. So you have the meaning. The meaning is, we need the ing. So I didn't know that. Thank you for telling me, Alejandra. So break the ice has the same meaning in Spanish. Fantastic. Let me know, Alejandra, how would you write it as well in Italy? Okay, well, as well in Italian. So you all know this term in your own language. Let me know. Sorry, I'm just changing my camera angle. Let me know in the live chat section how it is written in your own language. I'd love to hear it, and I'll try and say it. Now, with this, we can look at some ways that we can break the ice in more difficult situations. Now, I know one type of situation. Oh, that was quick. Same in Germany as well, Sandra. Fantastic. So Alejandra says that in Spanish, I'm going to apologize for my Spanish to begin with, but if I'm guessing how this is said, I'm going to say, Alejandra says, rompe el hielo. Okay, I'm going to go with that. Rompe el hielo. It seems to be a little bit similar in Italian. Stefano says rompere il ghiaccio. Ghiaccio. Maybe ghiaccio. Ghiaccio. Maybe rompere il ghiaccio. I apologize. My Italian, my Spanish is terrible. Paulo says, oh gosh, in Portuguese, quabara, maybe quabara orgello, maybe. Um, the Stefano says the sound is the same as gear. So gear, ghiacchio, ghiacchio, rompere il ghiacchio, ghiacchio. Okay. Anyway, that's my Spanish, Italian, and Portuguese. So apologies. I know it's not particularly great. Thank you very much. Oh, thank you. My surname is Italian. My surname is Italian, but that does not mean I can speak Italian. So how can we break the ice in English? Now, this is when we're talking to people, maybe when we're out. Now, this is something I know that some people get, maybe people are not very comfortable with. I will dedicate a lesson on dating English, for example, of how you introduce yourself and language you can use when you go on a date with someone, because I know that can be very nervous. It can be quite difficult, especially in English. But that's one example. Break the ice when you go on a date with someone. I think that could be a good lesson. Like the video, if you would like me to do a lesson on dating English, breaking the ice, and how you can talk to people in English when you go on a date. And if you also want to know how you can talk as well, if it's in person or on WhatsApp, for example, or Tinder, just let me know. I'll be more than happy to try and look at some language that can help you. But yes, break the ice is one example when we would do that. Some people like to go with something called a chat up line. This is very American. It's not really English to be. Well, when I say English, it's as an English person, chat up lines I don't really do. But I know that in America, they like their chat up lines. You sometimes see it in movies, for example. It's when you go in with a line that is supposed to break the ice. But we can look at that in another video. So that's the first one, break the ice. Feel free to let me know, guys, how do you like to break the ice? Do you have any do you know any phrases that can help you to break the ice when you meet someone new? Maybe a new teacher, maybe a new student, a housemate, flatmate, or maybe if you're meeting someone on a date. Do you have any phrases? Do you know any phrases that can help you to break the ice? Personally, I think one of the best phrases or ways you can break the ice is simply saying, "Hello, my name is Richard," for example. I think sometimes it's best just to say your name and just say hello. I don't think it needs to be complicated. Sometimes it can be simple. That, and maybe would you? I remember when I was younger, like, I don't know, when I was 16, I thought saying, "Would you like a drink?" would also be a good way to break the ice. Anyway, so that is one example of a Shakespearean phrase that you can use. And it's interesting to see that you have the same phrase in your own language. Let's look at another one. Here is another one that you can all use. It doesn't matter what your level is, you will be able to use this one. So, cold comfort. Cold comfort is a phrase. I'll write a sentence for you as well, so you guys can see what a cold comfort means. It is. Okay, cold comfort. Effectively, it's when it's a way of it's a type of reaction to bad news. So someone is you can say, "All I can give you," for example, "all I can give you is cold comfort, sadly. It means you can comfort them, but you know you can't do very much. It's a very bad situation. So you try to comfort them, but it's not going to be amazing comfort. Now, when we say comfort, it's not making someone comfortable in bed. It's trying to make someone feel, trying to be there for someone, maybe trying to make someone feel better. It's when you try to comfort someone. So, for example, maybe you have a friend and their dog dies. They are very, very sad. You try to comfort them by being there for them, but you know it is cold comfort because you can't do anything about the situation, and you know you're not going to make a big difference. You can make a little difference, but you can't make a big difference. So you try to help, but you know the situation is difficult. Another type of, you are trying, but you know you can't do very much. So that is a form of cold comfort. That's what we mean. Another example would be if someone dies, you try to comfort your friend, you try to be there for them, you speak to them, maybe you hug them, you cry with them. But you know, at the end of the day, it's a bad situation. There's very little you can do. So you try to comfort them, but it is cold comfort. So that is one way you can use it. All I can give you is cold comfort, sadly. So that is another example of a Shakespearean phrase you can use. Sandra says, someone has a problem and I give him a hug. Yes, you can give him a hug. That means if you give someone a hug who has a problem, you are comforting them. Okay, you are comforting them. Okay, yes. But the situation is, we have to think of a very bad situation, really. It's not a little problem. It's a life-changing problem. Well, a life-changing situation. So you try to comfort, but it's a cold comfort because you can't make the situation any better. So Stefano says, if I'm going on a date for the very first time and I am in the need to break the ice, I usually tend to be as much you don't need much here, but I see what you're saying. You're saying that okay, I'll just read what you've said. I usually tend to be as much spontaneous as I can. Very close. What you want to say is I tend to be as spontaneous as possible. That's what you want to say. I tend to be as spontaneous as possible. I see what you're trying to do there, Stefano. It's a complicated sentence, and 8 out of 10, really, really well done, Stefano. But that's how you want to end the sentence. Sandra says, but I can't change the problem. Yes, you cannot change the problem. This is another example would be another example perhaps would be someone has lost their job, and they're really unhappy, obviously. They've got lots of problems. You try to comfort them. You know you cannot change the situation for them, but you're trying to be a good friend. But unfortunately, it is cold comfort because you can't make a really big difference. So that is an example of what cold comfort is. Let's move on to the next one. And this one, I think, is, let's see, there's a few options I could go with here, but I think what we can do is, I tell you what, we'll go with this one. And again, it is a phrase that everyone can use. When Alejandro says, when someone died, yes. If someone has just died, and you try to comfort that person, it is going to be a bit of cold comfort because you are comforting them, but the emotion is new. The situation is very difficult. There's absolutely nothing you can do to make the situation any better, but you can be for that. You can be there for that person. You can hug. You can cry. but it is going to be cold comfort because you don't have a lot of control over the situation. So that is a form of cold comfort. So if someone has just died, yes, it will be a form of cold comfort. Maybe by the funeral, it'll be a bit better, but just as the problem happens. So it's usually just as soon as the situation happens, it's really bad. It's in the it's right there in the present, and you try to comfort. So that's going to be cold comfort, especially when someone has just died. Paulo says, "What an amazing expression! Doesn't have a similar in Portuguese." Well, there we go. We've got a new expression here that we can't find in another language. Let's look at the next one. In a pickle. Now, again, this is a Shakespearean phrase that you can use, and it doesn't matter what level you are. You can definitely use this phrase. What is a pickle? First of all, a pickle is a difficult situation. So we can say, we are in a pickle. We can say, what a pickle. What a pickle as well. What a problem. Now, we can say, for instance, governments, businesses, even ourselves, in the coronavirus, we are in a pickle. And some governments are making things worse. So some governments are doing a very bad job. And if they are doing a very bad job, then they are in a really big pickle. So some countries are, some countries, like my home country, the United Kingdom, are in a big pickle. Now, pickle can also be a type of green vegetable. It is a noun for a vegetable. It's like a very small cucumber, but you can cook it. And I know that if you are Russian and you have vodka, sometimes you have a pickle, a green pickle with your vodka. But in this case, pickle means problem, a difficult situation. So we are in a pickle. The world at the moment is in a pickle because of the coronavirus. Good afternoon, Juan Rojas. Works as an answer for how you are. Oh, how are you? Maybe we need a little bit more. We could say, for instance, I'm okay, but I am in a pickle. So you could say, I'm okay, thank you, but I am in a bit of a pickle. I'm okay, thank you, but I am in a bit of a pickle. I'm in a bit of a difficult situation. Sandra says, you have two things, and it is very difficult to take a decision. Two things. I think, yes, you missed out the W. Two things. Maybe, for instance, you see this a lot in movies. Maybe, okay, for example, you have a woman, a very beautiful woman, Bridget Jones, for example. So you have a woman who is the main character, and two men like her. And in the end, she has to make a decision. She has to choose. For instance, does Bridget Jones go for, I can't remember. I remember the actors' names. Does she go for Hugh Grant or does she go for Colin Firth? So she's in a pickle and she has to make a choice. So yes, we can use it when we have to make difficult decisions. Usually it's a pickle though, because we have made the situation worse. Alejandro says, we are a big pickle because the situation here for Latin people is complicated. Yes, good sentence. Don't forget the preposition with pickle is going to be in. We are in a pickle. We are in a big pickle. But that's a very good sentence, Alejandra. Well done. Yes, the situation in Latin America, it is a big pickle. I know Colombia at the moment is in a pickle economically and because of the coronavirus. I know Brazil is in a very big pickle at the moment. But most places are in a very big pickle. Like I said, my home country, the United Kingdom, is in a massive pickle. So yes, we can put adjectives in front of pickle. So that is another one. Now, this is another one that, again, we can use. It doesn't matter what level you are, you can still use this. Okay. The next one is a laughing stock. Okay, they are a laughing stock, meaning they are a joke. So effectively, they are doing such a bad job that it is embarrassing. That they are embarrassing. And maybe, yeah, maybe it's funny, maybe it's not, but that's not the point, though. That's what we mean by a laughing stock. Stefano says, when it comes to use comparatives, I feel like I am in a bit of a pickle. Stefano, ooh, maybe. If you are writing an essay, if you are in an exam, yes, you could end up being in a pickle. So they are a laughing stock, for example. Now, there are lots of examples of laughing stocks. So we could say that if someone is doing a really bad job and it's embarrassing to watch, maybe a little bit funny, but it's serious, then they are a laughing stock. So we can say at the moment, for example, I will happily say, I think there are a few governments at the moment that are a laughing stock. I can think of one country. Again, my home country, the United Kingdom, the government at the moment is a laughing stock. They really don't know what they're doing. We can certainly use laughing stock when it comes to certain things that come out of the United States, for example. Sandra says it's meaning for a bad way. Bad. Are you talking about laughing stock or pickle? If you're talking about a laughing stock, it means they are, whoever you're talking about is doing a very bad job. If we're looking at football, for example, if a team is meant to be doing well, but they are doing really badly, they're playing bad, they're playing badly, everything about their game is bad, then they are a laughing stock. So, for instance, Arsenal Football Club, they are usually a laughing stock. Unfortunately, Manchester United, for the past couple of years, have been a laughing stock. Not anymore. But yeah, laughing stock, yeah. So it means someone is doing a very bad job and it's embarrassing. So some politicians at the moment you might think are a laughing stock. They're doing a really bad job. Alejandro says, when the people fall on the street, no, if someone, it's not going to be, you see, that is a type of comedy, Alejandro, called, in English, we call it slapstick. When someone, it's when something is funny because of a physical action. So if someone is walking in the street and they fall and it's funny, that is slapstick comedy. It's not the same as laughing stock. Remember, a laughing stock, it doesn't, it might be funny, but it doesn't need to be funny. It means the person is doing a really bad job. It's such a bad job, it's a laughing stock, because what you're really saying is like that they should not be doing that job. They're not qualified to do that job. They're not good enough to do that job. Sandra says, but this behavior isn't nice, or the behavior, behavior might come into it. So if someone is behaving, let's say, take a famous actor, okay, and the famous actor is behaving badly. They don't talk well. They are rude. They are not nice, but they're very arrogant. They can become a bit of a laughing stock. You can't take them, you can't take the person seriously. So I think if we think of some famous people, actually, this is a good one. In the live chat section, can you guys think of something that's a laughing stock? So someone or something that is not as good as it should be, but they're doing a really, really bad job. Stefano says, I was supposed to give 100% for my last exam, but I really felt I was in a pickle and I was a complete laughingstock. But yes, everything until the last sentence. I see what you're going with, the complete laughingstock. I would only use that if you were expected to do really well. I've thought of a very good example, okay? Take Cristiano Ronaldo, okay? So take CR7, okay? CR7 is known to be a very good footballer, and he knows he's a very good footballer. Now, how can CR7 become a laughing stock? He would become a laughing stock if he stopped scoring goals, but still thought he was the best player in the world. So imagine he plays 10 games, and in the 10 games, he scores no goals, but he keeps on saying that he's the best player in the world. He then becomes a laughing stock. Juan says, is it okay to say the mascots at the break time are a complete laughing stock? They're meant to be funny, but it doesn't mean they are a laughing stock. They would have to be very bad. They would have to be really, really bad mascots. So no, we wouldn't use it normally for mascots. Okay, Sandra has come in with a very, very good example. The President of the United States. Yes, the President of the United States, Donald Trump, at the moment, you can use the term Trump is a laughingstock. You can use that. You can use that if you think Trump is doing a very bad job and he keeps on saying that he's doing an excellent job. So we can say that, yes, the President of the United States is a laughingstock. He's doing a terrible job. It's embarrassing, but he thinks he's doing a great job. If that is the case, then we can use a laughing stock. We can use this for politicians a lot. Paolo says the president of Brazil is a laughing stock too. Paolo, that is an excellent example. Yes, Bolsonaro is a laughing stock. Absolutely. You can use that if you think he's not doing a good job, but Bolsonaro is saying he's doing a great job, for example. He's making a lot of bad decisions and it's embarrassing. The whole world knows he's doing a bad job. Then he becomes a laughing stock. So, Paolo, that sentence, yes, that sentence works. That makes sense. Good. Well done, guys. Look, there are a lot of people that we could use, that we could describe as a laughing stock. I would use if I look at the UK, I think the UK government with Boris Johnson is a laughing stock at the moment. They're doing a terrible job. And everyone knows it. So, excellent. We're doing a really good one. Now, this one here, you will probably have a translation in your own language for this one. We have a phrase, it's Greek to me. It's Greek to me. I think in some languages, maybe in Italian, I can't remember, maybe Italian, you might say it's Spanish to me. But when we use the term, oh, it's Greek to me, it means you don't understand what the person is saying or what the person has said. So you're simply saying, I don't understand what has been said. I don't understand. I don't understand what you said. So, for example, Um, I mean, look, I will give you an example. Let's say you are looking at a subject like mathematics and you are not good at mathematics. You can say in English, mathematics, it's Greek to me, which means you don't understand. Um, maybe you hear maybe you hear someone on television talking about something, you don't understand what they've said, and you can turn to the person next to you and say, I don't know what the person said, it's Greek to me. It simply means, yeah, I don't understand what the person has said. um, Sandra says we have this with the Spanish version. Oh, let me know, is this German? Is this in German then, Sandra, when people say it's Spanish to me but it means the same thing, it's Greek to me in English? Victor says it's just like in Colombia. um, I don't know how to say the name. Sorry, Duque definitely is a laughing stock. Yep, that works. That's a good sentence, Victor. So I think you all have this. It's Greek to me, but your own version. I know maybe it's in German. Yeah, German in Germany, you would say it's Spanish to me. It's like it's another language. You don't really understand it. And we can use it for types of subjects such as mathematics, maybe. If someone starts talking about quantum physics, for example, you can say, well, it sounds very interesting, but it's Greek to me, meaning I just don't understand what you are saying. Stephanos says, when it comes to decision making, it's absolutely Greek to me to make up my mind and make a decision. Oh, I see what you're going for. I would say, I think that is one example when I wouldn't use it's Greek to me. Um, in that way. I suppose if we were to use it about ourselves, you could say it's funny. It sounds funny, but my thoughts are Greek to me, or my choices in life are are Greek are Greek to me. You can, if I'm thinking about what you're trying to say, Stefano, my advice would be try to go for those examples. My thoughts are Greek to me. It sounds really funny when you think about it. Or my choices in life are Greek to me. You can use it. They kind of make sense as well, but it's funny. Victor says in Colombia, we usually said he or she is speaking Chinese to me. Yeah, that's a good example of it's Greek to me. Um, I think in English now we even use something a bit similar. I think we sometimes can replace Greek with Chinese actually in English. Um, okay, guys, we're doing really well here. Um, there's so many other things that I could use. I think there's a lot of there's quite a lot of things we could use here. Um, let's go with. Here we go. I think I'm going to use with this. Yeah, let's go with this. Okay, guys. Victor says it's really Greek to me. It's really Greek to me. Yep, you can use that. Now let's look at this one. This is another phrase we can use. All that glitter isn't gold. Now, glitter is sprinkly. For instance, it's like something that you would use in decoration, maybe on a dress. It shines. Light bounces off it. Okay, so light hits and bounces off. It reflects. So glitter reflects light. Okay, it shows light, and it can be colorful as well. Glitter is usually used with something very a celebration of some kind of thing. It's meant to be really good. So, for example, when someone wins an Oscar and they go up to the stage, you see gold glitter for example. Evelina says, I understand in Italian are similar. Okay, I think we're excellent. Let me know what it is in Italian. But what does this mean? All that glitter isn't gold. It means something isn't as good as it looks. Similar in German too. Excellent. Similar in Spanish too. Excellent. Okay, so we have an idea. I think if I think of certain products that can be, oh gosh, Stefano, I'm not even going to try. Ooh, can I say that? Non è tutto oro quello che luccia. Ooh, maybe I'm right. Let me know if I said that correctly. When I think of things that, we could use saying all that glitter isn't gold. Wow, fantastic. Thank you very much, Evelina and Stefano, to let me know that my Italian is not as bad as I thought it was. Mobile phones. I think sometimes mobile phones, we can buy mobile phones and we can use this phrase, all that glitter isn't gold. I'm sure that you can all think of a product like a mobile phone you bought in the past, and it was expensive, it looked new, it looked great, and when you started to use it, you thought, it's not that good, is it? It's not really good. And that's when we can say all that glitter isn't gold. Victor says, let's see if I can say this in Spanish. No todo lo que brilla es oro. B in Spanish might be a V sound, I think, in English. So I'm going to say, no todo lo que brilla. Oh God, double L is a Y, isn't it? Vira es oro. Vira es oro. I'm probably wrong. But I think we can all think of a product, maybe a car. It's expensive, and you think at the end of it, well, all that glitter isn't gold. If I think of a car, for me, that would be really disappointing. I think, you know what? I have a question about, for instance, what brand is it? Tesla. I think Tesla looks a really good car, but I don't know. Is all that glitter isn't gold? Maybe. They're very expensive. I don't know. I know that they run on a battery, and when you use the car, it's better for the environment. But because there's such an expensive car to make, I'm not sure. So this is one example. I think some iPhones, not all iPhones, but I think some iPhones we can use all that glitter isn't gold. It's not that much better than another product. And we can use it with football teams. So if we take some football teams, they spend, Paris Saint-Germain, actually, they spend lots and lots of money on football players. But all that glitter isn't gold. So yes, they spent a lot of money, but they've never won the Champions League. Victor says, I bought. We don't need an R in bought. I bought an iPhone, but I wasn't able to manage it. All that glitter isn't gold. Yes, Victor, that's a good example. That's a good example. So, guys, we're now coming to the end of today's lesson. There are many, many more Shakespearean phrases that we can use on an everyday basis. If you would like another lesson in the future where I can teach you, I can show you more Shakespearean English that we can use on an everyday basis, like the video, and leave and let me know in the comments section. I will next week, if you like. I know some of you like the video. I will be more than happy to do a lesson on how to break the ice in English when going, for instance, when meeting new people on a date, for example. I can do that if you like. But thank you very much for everyone for joining today. Victor, best regards to Kata. Ah, very nice, says Sandra. So, guys, thank you so much for joining. Please like and share the video, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I think all of you have done a great job today. Stefano says, when it comes to celebrities' lifestyle, we can definitely say that their lives are not as brilliant as they look. All that glitter isn't gold. Yes, Stefano, I completely agree. Stefano says, thanks, dear teacher. Victor says, I'm Carla. I'm Kata. I'm Kata, sorry. Alejandro says thanks. Paulo says really interesting lesson about Shakespeare. You're welcome, guys. Thank you so much for joining. I'll do another lesson in the future on Shakespearean language. Sandra says nice lesson. Thank you very much, Richard. You're welcome. And okay, guys, so thank you very much. Irina says, thanks a lot, Richard, for the lesson. Thank you, Irina. Victor says, hug for you, Sandra. That's very nice. Sandra, Victor says sends a hug to you. Evelina says, have a nice day. See you soon. You too, Evelina. Irina, you too. Thank you for joining. So everyone in the live chat section, thank you very much. You did a really good job today. All of you watching as well, thank you. I will be back tomorrow. See you at 4 o'clock again with another live lesson. Tomorrow's live lesson is going to be linking ideas. So this is going to help you explain your ideas. See you tomorrow, and bye for now. Have a great evening, everyone.